A lot of the times these people are just tests, and the people that you come across are going to test your vanity, or they're going to test your pride. They're going to test any kind of sense of jealousy or covetousness that you have. And then other times people are going to just test who you are to see if you're really who you claim to be. And you're not even trying to say that you're this God, right? But you are striving to be godly. Godliness is a quality for you. It's not necessarily something that is a noun, right? This is something that you strive to as a principle, because in the Bible it says that male and female, God created them in God's image, right? So what that means is that we're made to be godly, but we're not made to be God. And so on semen retention, and for those of you that are just joining, we do Semen Retention Sunday episodes here. So welcome to another Semen Retention Sunday episode. I had somebody say that was a weird name for a Semen Retention Sunday video. And I said, yeah, but you'll remember it, huh? You remember that. So, because it's kind of strange, but anyway, you remember it. That's the point. So these people that are going to treat you like garbage or treating you like God, and you're going to get both of these kinds of things when you're on semen retention for long enough. And it's very strange. When I first started semen retention in May of 2022, I was very perplexed at the level of scrutiny that I would get from certain individuals, especially the women. I had no clue. Like, I knew women were capable of scrutiny and manipulation, but it was almost like there were certain tricks that I saw within the first couple months that I'd never seen before. And it was because I was actually paying attention to myself. It was actually because I was trying to pay attention to who I really was deeper than ever before. And so because of this newfound awareness and knowledge, I began to have a lot more of these kinds of tests. And then the men, I was even more surprised. Like, these big men were probably one of the most recognized videos that I've ever made was on semen retention with a magnetic presence, or you're going to be like the silent alpha of the room, basically. And in that video, I discussed this a little bit about how you're going to be this silent person where even the 220 pound, 6'3" guys at the gym are going to treat you like they're like intimidated by you. And I never understood that, because I'm 5'6" and I'm like 155 to 160 pounds, depending on if I'm eating a little bit more or not. And so I'm not necessarily the biggest guy, but I'm not necessarily the smallest guy either. And I do know how to protect myself and defend myself in case of necessary quarrels with people, but I try not to do that. But a lot of the times these people are going to be treating you like they're jealous of you, and the men can be really, really toxic to work with or be around sometimes, because they're just jealous of your energy. They don't really know why. Because a lot of the men that are jealous of you, what they really don't have is something going on for themselves. They just don't have a life outside of, whether it's partying or smoking or drinking or like hooking up or whatever it is. Like, they just don't have a life outside of the fleshly desires of this world. And so somebody like you who is actually striving for something more, and there's just something different about you, because subconsciously they'll know that something's different. And you're not going to go around saying, you know, it's because I've chosen to be a lion now and I'm no longer playing with myself. Like, you're like, they're not going to know that that's exactly what it is, but they're going to know that that's something that you're going through. Like, you're just going through some kind of transformation. And a lot of the times these people are going to be jealous of that because they don't know how to handle your levels of progression. And it's so weird to deal with, man. It's so strange sometimes. I've had men stare at me, even to this day. I've had men stare at me like giving me mean mugs and all of this for no reason. And so I'll just stare back sometimes. Other times I just care not to look anybody in the eye. But a lot of the times I'll just stare back because I'm like, what are you gonna do, man? What are you gonna do? You're just staring. But it's almost like if they do try to start something, it's almost as if your presence is just too much. Like your presence is too much for them. And even though they may be bigger than you, they know that you have a stronger will than they do. Because what you're really disciplining at the most fundamental level is your sexual urges, and you're able to discipline your sexuality, which means that you have more control over your mind, you have more control over your emotions, and ultimately you have more control over your body. If you can master self-control with your lust, I'm certain that you can do anything that you set your mind to. Because there's a reason that it says mind over matter, right? Like there's that saying of mind over matter. Well, why is that exactly? Well, it's because your mind is going to be way more powerful than any kind of matter here. Like look around you. I mean, this is beautiful stuff. This is beautiful scenery. It's a beautiful place. You know, we can build buildings. We can create all kinds of different kinds of tools and obtain different kinds of resources, but none of that means anything without the mind. None of that means anything without a mind being able to interact with it. And so we are interdimensional beings that are interacting with a three-dimensional world. And this is something that you'll come to understand further along the semen retention journey. But ultimately, the goal here is to recognize that your mind is going to be the most powerful tool or anything that you have. And it's difficult to understand that if you're constantly being berated or if you're being challenged or tested. Like the kinds of tests that you're going to have to endure on this journey are insane. I remember 6 months or so into my semen retention journey. It was October of 2022, and I had was it October 2022? Yeah, it was October 2022. I had multiple women, come to my door who I've never really even talked to. I've seen them around, but I didn't know them. They came to my door with wine bottles, like separately throughout the week. It was just right before Halloween at the time. And it was just the strangest thing because I've never had anything like that happen. And I've never heard of anything like that happening at the time, like apart from if you know somebody. But like if you don't know people and they're just coming up to your door with wine bottles ready to go and you tell them, no, I'm working, and then they want you even more, it's like, am I in an alternate universe? Like, is this real? It was very strange. I mean, it makes you question, like, what in the world was that? What was happening there? Well, what you're doing is you're actually, because you're retaining your seed, you're retaining your essence, you're also becoming more one with the universe. And I don't mean this in the New Age sense. I mean this as in you're becoming a co-creator with the Most High. And so through your relationship to Yeshua, you are able to move in a certain direction in which you automatically grow in your resources. You automatically grow because your life is automatically taking care of itself. You're like recycling this energy that is left over, and you're using it and you're transmuting it. I will say this as well. If you're not transmuting this energy, and what I mean by that is if you're not utilizing the energy that you have, because you're going to get a lot of energy, and that's one of the reasons why these people treat you so like a god, or they treat you like garbage because they don't understand and they don't recognize what's actually going on. They just know that you have some sort of power within you, and you do have this power, but you, in becoming one with life itself and one with nature, you automatically just begin to do things that are in accordance to what you're supposed to be doing. And when the tests come, and they will come, they they present themselves at the most inopportunistic times, because you're on a roll. Usually you're on a roll, you're going well, and then all of a sudden there's something big that tries to stop you, or there's several small things rather that try to stop you, and you have to have the proper discernment to look at the chessboard, so to speak, and move accordingly, because sometimes you might have to sacrifice that pawn. Sometimes you might have to sacrifice that bishop, and you don't want to do that, but in order to win the long game, you've got to do that. And so you've got to look at taking risks properly, like taking the proper risks. This is something that even me myself to this day, I'm reflecting on and learning more about myself. And one thing I've never been shy of over the past few years, especially since following Yeshua, Jesus, for anybody that is not familiar with that term, Yeshua is the Hebrew name for Jesus. And so ever since I've started following Yeshua, one of the biggest things that I've seen in my life is that I'm absolutely willing to take risks, but sometimes I'm taking risks on things that I don't need to be taking risks on. And so a part of me wants to take the risk just to show that I can take the risk. But then the other part of me is saying, now that I'm growing a lot more stabilized and I have a foundation that's really solid and set now, it's almost like I'm asking myself, well, okay, it's not necessarily that I have nothing to lose anymore, but it's something that I have to recognize that even though it could be perceived that I'm losing something, what Yeshua is actually showing me is something completely different. He's just showing me what reality is. He's not actually allowing me to lose anything. But make no mistake, Yeshua can give and he can take away, absolutely. Because that is the whole essence of this journey, is to recognize this and understand this. And a lot of these people just don't get it. They just don't get it. How could they get it? It's not because, I mean, these people are depleted coomers. Most of the men are depleted coomers, and most of our women are whores. It's just as simple as it is. So how could they get it? How could they understand? You cannot expect these NPCs to understand what you're going through. And so it might be a little bit of a lonely journey. But, that's why we have certain tools and resources and communities available. All right. This is one of the reasons why I have created the Regal Change Academy, is because I know that there's a God-shaped hole in society, and we want to help people grow closer to God, to Yeshua. We want to help people build their brand and purpose. We want to help people strengthen relationships, and we want to help people stay fit. What is so wrong about that? But you see, a lot of the times people don't want to do the work. And I've had people that I've seen in the past go on semen retention, and they relapse and they let it get to their heads. You cannot let a relapse, this test, get to your head. Okay? Do not let the relapse get to you, because I've seen what happens when the relapse gets to certain people, and it's not good. They completely lose self-confidence, and you don't ever want to lose self-confidence. You have to have pathological self-confidence in yourself. You have to, if you really want to bend reality to your will, and as long as it's in accordance to the Most High, you cannot let anything get inside your head. And how do you do that? You stay the course. You stay the course. Make sure that you're focused on what you need to be focused on. Imagine what you want to manifest, because if you don't have the vision, you're not going to be able to manifest it. But if you can manifest it through the vision, you'll get exactly to where you need to go. All right? So I hope this video was useful and insightful. If anybody does want to join the Regal Change Academy, we have the free Discord as well as the paid community. The free Discord, we have a bunch of different kinds of resources there, but we don't do weekly calls or anything like classes like we do in the paid Regal Change Academy, where we actually have courses and such as well. We have a weekly Bible study that we do, as well as a weekly Regal assembly that we do, where we talk about anything and everything. And I also want to give a shout out to everybody that's been moving from the YouTube platform over to the X and the Rumble accounts that I have. All of the links that I just mentioned, if you want to link to anything, look in the description box below. That's where everything will be. Oh, man, it's a bit chilly. I've got my winter coat in a way on out here because, man, it is a bit cold. It's way colder than it looks. Way colder than it seems anyway. But it's a beautiful day. We got the clouds out and got a little cloud warmth seeping in. It's been warm and cold in a strange way here in Utah recently. We've had like a couple of days where it was down in the low 20s, and now we're kind of hovering around 40s to 60s during the day again. But I suspect we'll probably be getting down a little bit lower in the next coming weeks because winter is pretty much here as far as Utah is concerned. Right now is usually the time where it starts to rain more and snow within the next few weeks. So I still want to be doing outside videos though. I really enjoy doing these outside videos and I really enjoy being outside, but man, has it been cold. It's been chilly. But anyways, guys, it was nice talking to you all today, and I hope you all have a blessed rest of your day. And with all that being said, peace be with you. Till next time.